You've said the right thing. You know you're right, and they still don't do it. Maybe it's a coworker ignoring the fix you already told them would work. Maybe it's a partner who nods along and then does the exact opposite thing an hour later. You didn't say it rudely, you didn't hide the reasoning, you just told them what you thought, clearly, and it bounced right off. Here's the trap. You assume the problem is that they didn't understand you, so you explain it again, slower, with more detail, more conviction in your voice, and somehow that makes it worse. There's a name for what's actually happening. Psychologist Jack Brehm called it psychological reactance back in the 60s. The moment someone feels their freedom to choose is being taken away, even gently, part of their brain starts defending that freedom instead of evaluating your point. You're not being ignored because your idea is bad. You're being resisted because it arrived as an order instead of an opening. Here are 5 things that actually get a suggestion to land, and the one instinct that quietly makes people dig in harder. Technique 1. Ask, don't tell. Instead of saying, you should do it this way, try, what do you think would happen if you did it this way? This isn't a soft trick. It's the whole logic behind motivational interviewing, a method developed by psychologists William Miller and Stephen Rolnick that's now used everywhere from addiction counseling to corporate coaching. People argue much harder for a conclusion someone handed them than for one they said out loud themselves. A question doesn't remove your idea, it just lets them arrive at it instead of receive it. Technique 2. Name their objection before they do. If you already know what they're going to push back on, say it first. You're probably thinking this'll take too long. Here's why I don't think it will. Research on two-sided persuasive messages going back to Carl Hovland's work, and later formalized as inoculation theory, keeps finding the same thing. Raising the counter-argument yourself and answering it builds more trust than pretending it doesn't exist. It also takes away their easiest exit. There's no objection left to hide behind if you already handled it. Technique 3. Give 2 doors, not 1. Should we do X invites a yes or no fight. Do you want to try X first, or Y invites a choice? A classic study by Ellen Langer and Judith Rodin found that simply giving people more say over small, everyday decisions measurably changed how engaged and positive they felt about the outcome. The suggestion is basically the same either way, but one version leaves them holding the wheel and the other one doesn't. Technique 4. Get a small yes first. Don't open with the big ask. A landmark study by Jonathan Friedman and Scott Fraser found that people who first agreed to a tiny, low-effort request were dramatically more likely to later agree to a much bigger one from the same person. Once someone said yes once, saying yes again stops feeling like a concession and starts feeling consistent with who they already are. Technique 5. Let them say it back. Near the end of the conversation, ask them to summarize the plan in their own words. Not because you didn't explain it well, but because restating it makes it theirs. Researchers studying what's now called the IKEA effect found that people consistently value things more when they had a hand in building them, even something as simple as furniture they assembled themselves. An idea works the same way. The version they built with their own sentences is the one they'll actually follow through on. Now here's the instinct that undoes all of this. When a suggestion isn't landing, the natural move is to push harder. Repeat it. Firm up your tone. Add more force to make sure it sticks. A large 2024 meta-analysis covering nearly 30 studies found the opposite happens. Language that sounds more controlling, you must, you have to, reliably increases anger and pushes people to silently argue back in their head. And both of those measurably predict the message landing worse, not better. Pressure doesn't make a point more true. It just gives them something to resist. So here's what actually works. Ask instead of tell. Name the objection before they do. Offer a real choice instead of a directive. Open with something small before the big ask, and let them finish the idea in their own words. None of this is about being sneaky. It's about giving people room to arrive at your idea instead of being cornered into it. The version of you that pushes hardest usually gets remembered as pushy, not persuasive. Which one of these have you actually never tried? Tell me in the comments. If this helped, follow Own the Room for more of this.